Good morrow. I'm William Shakespeare, and today I'm going to tell you why you study Shakespeare. Sarah writes, "Dear Mr. Shakespeare, why did you want to write plays? We read one in class, and it was boring." Thank you for your question, Sarah. My first comment is, my plays were never written to be read in a classroom. They were written to be viewed and listened to on stage. It's a play. You wouldn't study the movie Star Wars by reading the script. When I was young, growing up in Stratford, we would have troops of travelling actors performing in the town square. This began my interest in acting and writing. Why did I write the plays? It was the business I was in. I began as a young actor and learned from those above me. As time went on, I began to write and sometimes perform in my own plays. In London, permanent theatres were established, where plays were performed nearly every day of the week. Performances were usually in the afternoon to capture the light in the open-roofed theatres. The actors would rehearse their lines in the morning and were also expected to be able to sword fight, sing, and dance. Back in the 1600s, life was pretty grim, but things were rapidly changing. The Black Plague had ravaged the country, killing thousands. We had no running water or stores to buy clothes. There was no electricity, so there was no radio, TV, movies, computer games, or so-called smartphones. To be entertained in the theatre was a real treat. Queen Elizabeth I was on the throne, and her love of the arts ushered in a new wave of poetry, music, and literature. Only males were allowed to perform on the stage, so all the female parts were performed by men. Although I am considered one of England's greatest poets and playwrights, with such classics as Richard III, most of my plays were set elsewhere in Europe. Macbeth was set in Scotland, A Midsummer Night's Dream in Greece, Hamlet in Denmark, Love's Labour's Lost in Spain, and Measure for Measure in Austria. But the majority of my plays were set in Italy, such as Romeo and Juliet, Julius Caesar, The Taming of the Shrew, Othello, The Two Gentlemen of Verona, and The Merchant of Venice. The theatre was a place where all people, no matter if they were rich or poor, could be entertained. Nearly everyone in London went to the theatre, with attendances each week numbering between 10 and 20,000 people. Many of my plays were performed in the Globe Theatre. The original theatre no longer stands, but a replica was built in London and opened in 1997, where my plays continue to be performed today. What might seem boring to you today was entertainment in my day. Try to see my plays performed on stage to capture the real effect. Good day. Be sure to watch part 3, where I answer Beth's question, where she writes, "Dear Mr. Shakespeare, I read you invented words and phrases that we use every day. Is this true?" If you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe to our channel. It's free to subscribe, unlike my plays, which cost 2 pennies. 3 pennies if you wanted a seat with a cushion. Come to think of it, I didn't see much of that money. Anyway, subscribe today!